we're going to go to a particular place. And in fact, I'll tell you a story. I haven't told this story in years. In present time, and the reason this story comes about is in 1994, I was studying in a place called the Berkeley Psychic Institute. Anybody know that? At that time, it was very, very interesting, and the teacher there was a man named Louis Bostwick. It was one of these giant beings that was dropped into a body and was really extraordinary as a teacher. And I was being a teacher, learning how to be a teacher. From my point of view, it didn't matter. They could call me and say, could you drive 2 hours to teach a class in 3 hours? Yeah, no problem. I would just do, I was a real junkie. I loved what I was doing. And I had gone one day and I had a really great experience. And I was in one of these places where it was an extraordinary set of feelings in my body. I didn't know why. I was extremely happy. It was like, yeah, this is really working. And I was driving through a place called Concord, north in the Bay Area, California, and I was getting hungry. And this was, looking back, it was kind of amazing. But I was starting to get hungry, and that was not something I usually stop. And I said, well, I'm just going to stop and get something to eat. Exit, pull off the exit, restaurant, pull in the restaurant. No thinking, just kind of go in there. And I go in, and I sit down at this counter. God, I haven't told this in years. And I'm sitting at this counter, and I'm ready to order. And this man comes in, and he sits down right next to me. And we start a conversation. And it was an extraordinarily great conversation, but not any magical conversation. It was like he was saying this, and I was, we were just matched. The energy was very matched. And we were talking about science and physics and all kinds of things that I find really fascinating. And we eat at the same time, and we finish at the same time, and we're just in that groove, that zone where you just really like something. And he's saying lots of things. Like, that's how it works. I agree. And we're talking about metaphysics, and we're talking about little particles and big particles and universes and little. I'm oblivious. I'm just thinking this is a cool conversation. And we pay our bill at the same time, and we get up and we walk out at the same time, and we come to the corner of the building, and he turns around and he looks me right in the eye, and he says, Jim, and I don't think I ever introduced myself. We didn't swap names. He says, you have to believe. Oh, yeah, I believe. No, you have to believe. And the energy changed, and it was like, okay? And he says, you have to believe, and everything comes to you when you believe. He says, if you hold out your hand and you ask for the apple to appear, the apple will appear. And in his hand, there was an apple. And it wasn't like a big ball of light and then the apple. It is as if it was there all along. There was no pop. There was the apple. And I looked at this apple, and I looked at him. He got my attention. And everything changed, and it was like, wow, And part of me wanted to go, I believe! I was cool, though. And he says, you have to believe. Handed me the apple, smiled, walked around the corner of the building. I didn't have the courage to go, because I know he gone. And I'm holding this apple. This is a true story. I'm holding this apple, and I'm thinking, Jesus. So I bite the apple, it can't be an apple. It's not real. It was an apple. It wasn't an extraordinary apple. It was just an apple. An amazing event. You can hear that and go, oh, that's cool. But to have that experience and apple, you're about to see the apple. You're about to experience the apple. In this case, the apple is, in my recent way of saying this, is we're talking about stepping into the fifth dimension, to becoming a consciousness that's fully aware, that doesn't look at people with judgment and edgy mutations and distortions. And kind of what we're going to do this weekend is as if I'm standing here saying, we're opening the door to the airplane. We're standing at 15,000 feet. We're going to jump out and we're going to have an experience. And we're both going, yeah, this is going to be great. An apple, sure, whatever you say. And no matter how much you intellectualize, I'm going to just step and fly. No matter how much you think this, it does not register. You can analyze it as much as you want, but step and fly. And everything about what you just thought has no meaning at all because you've just stepped into a new experience. Does that make any sense? So, whatever was on my script. So we're going to set this in motion. There's a lot of help in this room. Steve comes with a big entourage. Okay? Well, no, they're just the group. No, they aren't just the group. They are a huge consciousness that is very focused on this transition. The archangels, the ascended masters that I am blessed to have as teachers and guides and friends, friends is the bigger word than even the other two, they are so passionate about your motion, your movement, your change, that that they're beginning to become more present. Let me just kind of take this part of this journey. There is a purpose that they have, and that purpose is, they have said to me, and where I get to play, we believe that there is a pathway that's never been walked in this configuration that can take humanity into a fully ascended state far faster than was ever thought possible. And there will be portals, templates, structures of energy to step through. And since we've been kind of doing this, they come back and say, you weren't supposed to do that. That we didn't think that would happen. Now that's kind of a really funny conversation to hear from the archangels going, well, we didn't think that was going to happen. And I'm just the one who says, what they say to me is, they say, would you here give them this much? And I know you only have that much of a doorway to slide it under, but make sure they get this much. Now that's a dance. But you're doing the dance. You're getting the information. And it's a really pretty extraordinary thing. To the point where, let me just kind of wrap this up a little bit, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and start working. In the grouping of people that I get to play with in Mastering Alchemy, we've gotten to a certain point, and about 4 weeks ago, the Kuthumi, who is an enormous teacher, and the archangel said, we would like to play with you. Well, we are. No, we would like to teach your classes with you in present time. But what they were really saying is, you all, everybody, has now hit such a stride as this opportunity with the new 10-10-10, with the new solar bursts and sun level light, we'll talk about that later, is occurring. You've hit such a level that we want you to do something that has never been done. We want to begin to focus your attention on clearing the density from the emotional body, all that anger, rage, motion, all this stuff back here. We want to begin to clear the density, the thoughts, the ugly thoughts, out of the mental body. We're going to show you how to merge the mental and the physical into a harmonic, coherent frequency. That's what this is all about. When the mental and the emotional become one flow of energy, the ability then to take it into the spiritual body and harmonize it, which has not been done on the planet before, is that close, a thought away. When you bring it into the spiritual in that harmonized, coherent frequency, the ability to then take that level of light and bring it into the physical form, creating a golden liquid light body, is very present right now. Right now. That information is available. It's never been done. When the earth makes its transition, there will be a lot of people who will not make the transition right now as we go forward. Just like in the year 2000, a whole cadre of people did not make the transition. And so, but now, there are going to be a lot, because there's so much light that has to come into the body cannot handle that much light. Does that make sense? And so, where we're about to play in this week, in this couple of days, is we're going to take that energy pattern up into some vibrational frequencies, into a place of focused, conscious intention. There is no, I'm better than, it's a place of work. We're working. This is a working session for these days. And in that particular place, we're going to start to, the intention is to see if we can get enough people to recognize you in a fifth dimensional space, and then begin to choose to live from that. Living in a fifth dimensional consciousness, walking in a third dimensional consciousness. In the world, but not of the world. And by simply, you can stay here, you're all really wonderful, oh yeah, that was really cool, and then you walk out the door, and you go right back into your day-to-day noise. So the intention is, can you step into that fifth dimensional space, turn around, and begin to be conscious of the day-to-day noise without being of the day-to-day noise. Is that okay? The template that gets created there has an enormous amount of assistance with it. And that will begin to vibrate in such a way, is the intention, that many of those that otherwise would choose to leave the body death is not what death you think it is. It's something very different. But all those people, whether they leave the body or not, they're going to go into a vibration. They're all going to go home and then root you on. What the target is for all of you is that you're going to step over that line, begin to hold these light patterns in the intensity that you do. All of the stuff that's hidden in the heart cannot sustain itself in the light. It's gone. There's no work. It begins to go away. And so that's the target we're going to play on this weekend. Anybody want to play? Okay. All right.